All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to do the first thing that we do with your permission, and that is to open the sacred space.
Good.
Facing the direction of the east. This is run down as Altzar, Aurelius Kumara. And to you, Mamakocha, for the abundance of life that you nurture in the bosoms of the lakes, rivers, and oceans of the world. Father Sky, Iti Father Sun, thank you for the intelligence that you give us, which we inhale with our every breath. And for the guide. And with that, I now call on all of our Master Spirit Guides to join us for this session of the Zodiac Mystery School, the Scorpio session, which is about to commence. We ask for your blessings. We ask for sharing of your wisdom through us, through all those present here, so that other spirits of the world around the world may benefit from it. Hiya. And with that, we have opened the sacred space. So thank you again for joining us. Star, may I suggest, if you haven't done that already, that you go up into your channel, hook up with Master Sphinx, and we can ask him if he would be kind enough to open up briefly the discussion today with a message for us, bearing in mind that he and any other master that...
I didn't hear what you said, you cut out.
Do whatever you need to do to connect with Master Sphinx.
Okay.
Bring him in for a brief message at the outset, if he has one, or any other master that may have a message for us. And then, during the course of the discussion, they will obviously have an opportunity to participate in it with us on the subject we will talk about, or any other that they choose to talk about.
Okay. I heard most of what you said. I'm just going to connect with Sphinx. Greetings, blessings. Wonderful to be here this day. As I speak through this vessel, I wish to talk about coming of the shift and change and surrendering to the movement therein. Having gratitude for one where is, where one will be, and where one has always been. In these times of great change, it is easy to get swept up in the loss of all that is. But one must also remember, walking along the path is one of humility and surrendering. Giving yourself to the Supreme and allowing yourself to, as we have spoken before in previous Mystery School broadcasts, getting out of your own way. Forgiving yourself for that which you see as your imperfections, and being your own truth. I will go ahead and let the vessel return. But before I do, I wish to say, one and all, seeing this broadcast, hearing these words, surrender to yourself, move aside, let yourself be, do not try to do, be the perfection that you are. Breathe in the truth of your own light. It is all that you are. It is all that you have ever been, and it is all that you will ever be. For you are the truth, and the truth is you. Adonai.
Adonai and Espavo. Thank you. It is very appropriate and very synchronous that you finished your address, Master Sphinx, with comments about surrendering, because that's what we have been guided to talk about today. And surrendering to the divine sometimes feels easy, sometimes it's very hard. So Nina, maybe we can start with you, because you have just finished what I understand was an amazing STAR clinic. STAR, maybe you can explain to us what the acronyms STAR stand for and what the S in particular stands for.
Such a beautiful topic. It's dear to my heart, and Golden Dolphin's message comes through me in just the plain language of English, describing surrender, trust, allow, and receive. Such powerful words that depict a state of being. Surrendering, as was so beautifully said a few minutes ago, the ego to the human divinity. Trusting in wholeness, that we may expand and express, and allowing the will of the divine. Receiving with appreciation and gratitude what the divine human has imagined and created, even though we are not able to see it perhaps at the moment, but it surely exists. So surrender. You know, we think so often about surrender looking like Napoleon surrendering to at Waterloo. We think of it as a very debilitating, disempowering word where we lose our identity. That's it. We lose our identity. We lose our with Napoleon. He lost his possessions, his money, his power, everything that he identified with. But the surrender we're talking about now is very empowering, and it's not a loss at all. It is embodying the fullness of who you are, your God self. The most important thing about surrender, and then I'll pass, is that we can't do it if we are living in the past, if we are attached to the identity of who we think we are. As a plumber, a dressmaker, a grandmother, a sick person in the hospital, if that's our identity and we don't know that we're divine humans, it's not going to work. It just plain won't work. But if you know your identity as a divine human and you move your conscious awareness into the now, bingo, easy. That's surrender.
Thank you, Nina. You reminded me of something that our brother from London, Akeem, had said a few days ago in a wonderful message that he had said that he had sent to Star and me, which I then shared with the rest of our community of Stewards of the Earth. And one of the things that when I excerpt from Akeem's message was, he said that some of my star friends have experienced similar unexplained traumas and challenges. I have my own, Akeem says. And then this is, to me, a sentence that really resonated. He said, I feel it is important to go with the flow, to be who you are at an essence level, and to do so in acceptance of all that is. Isn't that putting in different words what you just said yourself?
Absolutely.
Marti, why don't you weigh in on the subject from your perspective? By the way, for the benefit of all our viewers and listeners who are now seeing and hearing Marti for the first time, let me just say that she is an amazing shaman and healer, but also an amazing human being in whose light I had the privilege of bathing for 2 weeks during the Alta Messiah trip in the high Andes in 2009. She is well versed in both Inca cosmology as well as the Tibetan. So with that, by way of introduction, Marti, please share with us your view of what surrendering means to you.
Thank you, Bob. That was a beautiful introduction, and the sharing of the light was mutual for those 2 weeks. I actually encourage people to not use the word surrender. I encourage people to use the word release. And I think what happens with modern people is our awareness gets trapped inside the personal self. And one of the pieces of magic that happens is that if we can release our awareness to the world around us, if we can actually feel and experience the world around us without thinking and stay in that state of released awareness, we automatically find our divinity. We automatically experience that divinity isn't something up above us that we have to get to. We are it. And everything that the keepers of the earth, everything that awakened people are striving for comes into our conscious awareness because that's how we're wired. So if you imagine playing with this idea of releasing your awareness from the self, release it, and actively place your awareness on the earth, the world around you. It doesn't matter if you're in a cityscape or the country or anything in between. Actually be aware and receive information. Put it in your imagination that you're being informed by the world. Then you don't have a separate idea of the world because the world is telling you, informing you, guiding your actions, guiding your membership. And in this time, in this now that we're living, the mountain spirits in South America are telling us quite a bit about the dimensional network of sekes or energy lines that ordinarily hold our reality together. That network is coming loose, as it does every 1,000 to 10,000 years. It's coming loose so things can change, so things can evolve. And as that network that holds our reality together loosens, there's going to be a lot more wild energy, which is why people are experiencing inexplicable difficulties. We're accustomed to perceiving energy doing a certain thing. The energy's not doing anything like it used to. It's starting to do new things. But if our awareness is released to the world, if we're not being informed by new movements of energies, we'll misinterpret, or rather I would say we just interpret these wild energies and their movements as not what we want, and we'll run into them, and that's the experience of these difficult moments coming. We're not actually paying attention to what energy is doing. We're not paying attention to the changes and the evolution that's going on around us. And this tiny little practice of releasing awareness to the world, I've seen it change people in a minute. I've seen people do daily practices of this and over weeks finally understand what their role is and what it means to be instead of trying to do all these things. So that's my spin on surrender, become release.
Well, thank you, Marti. And I see we're all speaking the same language, aren't we? Just using different words to express the same idea. One thing that came to mind as you were talking, there was a releasing ceremony at the Jaguar Lagoon under Mount El Sangate that we did as another expression or form of what you described, releasing, turning our troubles, if you'd like, over to Pachamama, to the world. Something else that came to mind was the second part of the STAR acronym that Nina uses. It was acceptance. Am I correct? The A stands for
surrender, trust, allow, receive, but what comes after that is absolutely accept.
The trust and then acceptance. Is that right? Is that how it goes?
Surrender, trust, allow, receive, but it ends up with acceptance for sure.
Okay. So that's the word that you just heard that Akim also used, this acceptance of all that is. In other words, we get ourselves out of our own way. That's of course easier said than done. So how do we then discern? How do we then distinguish between what is our ego versus what is divine guidance? Star, do you want to comment about that?
Yeah. First of all, the ego and the spirit cannot exist in the body at the same time. The ego has a feeling of cold. It has a feeling of I. It has a feeling of I created myself, and it will not very often allow you to step aside of outside of your own self so that you can recognize it. It's very slippery. It doesn't like anything to do with surrendering. Truthfully, I like to, in stepping out of your own way, I like to think of the word allow. Because when you are following the path of light, you're allowing the things to come to you, and you remember that you're a galactic citizen. The ego has no competition. When you realize that not only are you remembering your galactic self, you're remembering your multidimensional self, spirit is coming in and helping expand. So many people think ascension is a place that we go, or something that's going to happen to us, and rise up and we're just going to be completely different. That is not truth. Truth is that your own truth and integrity, ego has no place. Your spirit knows where you're going, what you're doing, when you'll get there. You are allowed choice A or choice B. Whichever road you take, you're still going to get there. Rumi said all loves lead to divine love eventually. And what he meant by that was no matter if you're black or white or brown or red, fat, thin, picked up in that, all those labels do not matter. They matter to ego, they do not matter to spirit. In light, you will get light. You will return to the whole because you are the whole. In the word imperfection, which so many people are going through right now, difficult times, I'm perfect. In your own breath, you're perfect. You actually make the sound to the universe in Sanskrit that says, I am that I am. So in that, your ego, it is driving the vehicle, but basically like an alarm clock. In order to be an observer, you must step back and say, what my next thought's going to be. Become the observer, see the spirit, and don't act on it, but respond to it by allowing yourself to receive the remembrance of your own truth.
Thanks, Star. Something that Marti had said also resonated with me very well, and that is that Marti, when you talk about releasing, that it's important to stop thinking. I paraphrase that, to get the brain out of the equation. And I'm reminded that in our last Libra session, Nina and I talked about that as well, didn't we, Nina? So I think that what Nina does and the golden dolphins that speak through her to us do, they bypass the brain, if I can paraphrase that, and go straight to the heart. So how about you ask the golden dolphins of Sirius B now if they have a message for us, and want to talk to our hearts.
I want to make sure I understand what you're asking. Would you like me to speak in the language that we...
Yes, in their language, in the star language, straight to our hearts. We're going to turn off the switches in our brains.
I have to tell you something funny before I do it. At the end of the Star Clinic, last night, in transition to the next one in the spring, which has the title of Becoming a Galactic Citizen, curiously, I asked everybody in the audience that spoke cosmic languages to come forward. And we had 13, and each one of the 13 spoke their unique language. It was so beautiful to see that we really are star beings and that we are feeling safe. That's another message of the Golden Dolphins, is to feel safe to have this kind of conversation, and that you won't belittle me or judge me because I'm about to do something that most people think might be strange. Okay, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Espavo, mahalo. Star, would you check in with our masters and guides and see if they wish to add to our conversation at this point with some guidance of their own, to see who wishes to speak?
Yes. Sai Baba actually wishes to speak.
Sai Baba, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Blessings, one and all. It is good to see you. Actually, see you. You have figured this out. Master Altzar, very good job. Wonderful, wonderful to make your acquaintance this day. I would like to bring to you the message. When you speak of surrender, what does that really mean? It is to give oneself completely in wholeness to God. Before all, walk the path of difficulty. It is true. There are many. This is not easy time. I understand much of pain comes from your own fear. But when you let go and you become your God self, then all goes away. Fear and light cannot exist at the same time. In the fear, you shine the light on the shadow, it becomes more light, less shadow. Therefore, becomes more of your own joy and bliss. And you are designed to be joy and be bliss. This is what I have for this message on this day. Be your joy and be your bliss. Thank you so much for letting me enjoy this conversation. Be well.
Espavo Sai Baba, we're honored to have you as part of our call. Andrea, I want to bring you into this conversation. Come on over here so that our brothers and sisters can see you. Here, I'll let you take the seat. And share with us, if you would, what surrendering means to you, maybe by example or anything else that comes to mind. How do you manage to surrender? You do it through music. By the way, Andrea is an outstanding musician, but a violinist. And after we're done here, we're planning to record something. We don't know what it's going to be yet. Maybe Let It Be, maybe Mozart. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do surrender through music. That's been a great gift to me. But I actually have had a very powerful experience of surrender, which I'd like to share. I learned firsthand about surrender when I got swept by a sneaker wave in California from Point Reyes. Got taken out by this humongous wave in the midst of a huge storm. And I was up high on a cliff, and I'd been in this place for a long time, but this huge wave came and took me off the cliff. I was wearing a full-length wool coat, and I got sucked out into these monstrous waves. I couldn't swim. I couldn't do anything because this coat was acting like a sail. So I just got tossed around in these waves. and experienced the surrender kind of various levels. You know, first it was like, wow, I don't think I'm going to get out of here, and this kind of mind went. I can't remember which went first. The physical, I guess the mind went first, and then the physical strength, and the will was incredibly strong. Kept hanging in there, but there was so much fear and there was so much turbulence, and you know, after being battered against the rocks repeatedly and held under and tossed around, eventually I fully surrendered, and what happened was that when I fully surrendered, I experienced the total bliss of being connected with everything, of being in the light, of going through the tunnel, of being in this gold light and being held. And it went from being tossed around and this terrible hard sound to this peaceful sound, feeling like I was held, feeling like I was one with the water, I was one with the earth, I was being held and floated until I got taken up onto the beach and the waves receded and my friend came and helped me out, and I managed to live through this amazing experience, and getting to practice surrender continuously in my life. It's still a challenge sometimes, but what an amazing teaching.
And the reason for that is so you can now share this story and inspire others with it, you see?
Yes. I'm very grateful to still be here. It really did change my life. It made me feel like there was a purpose to be here, and happy to share that. And
Thank you, Andrea.
yeah.
Well, I think what a wonderful story to exemplify what we were talking about in real life, isn't it? Why don't we promised ourselves and the stewards of the earth that we will be brief today. So why don't we wrap it up and go around to see if anyone has something to add to this conversation, and we'll leave Star to ask the masters last to see if any of them still have something to add. So Marti, why don't we go with you? Do you have any final words to the wise?
Yes, well, to everyone. I think that we need to remember that we are all expressions of the consciousness that speaks the whole universe into being. And that consciousness, that intelligence, that is the divine. That is the divine. When we feel it, we feel what we call divinity. And as expressions of that consciousness, we're also active parts of that consciousness. And so we don't want to confuse release and surrender with not doing anything. Our participation, the way we be, the way we are awake and in relationship with life, that's what we need to release to, what we need to surrender to.
Excellent point. Thank you. Nina.
Thank you so much, first of all, for this opportunity. I want to say that before we close. It's very difficult when we are projecting and creating with the energy of the past, which is suffering very often, or the fear of the future. So my final words are surrender, trust, all the things we've been talking about, manifest most efficiently with ease and grace in the no time, no space, in alignment with the oneness that was just mentioned. When we are in that way of being that is so present, so clear, then we are able to make the change in our life and to have an identity that is different from that which we have known from the collective consciousness, that we are divine humans. So moving into the now is where it happens. And there's an easy way to do it outside of theta, alpha, lucid dream state, or meditation, because we can't do that on a daily basis while we are being and doing. There's a computer expression which is cut and paste, or whatever. So you take the thought that is fearful from the past, and you say, move it from my head into my heart, and then allow the energy to move into the multidimensional field. and dissipate. And this empowers you as a divine human. So if ever you are feeling constrained by the suffering of the past or the fear of the future, just take the thought out of your head and cut and drag. That's it. Cut and drag it down into your heart and allow it to express in the field. And it becomes compassion. And this is how we can do it on a day-to-day basis when we're working or interacting with friends. And we don't have to move into meditation.
Wonderful. Up until now, the cut and paste, for me, it was a computer expression. I can see that we can have some more useful applications of that as well. Anyway, thank you, Nina. Star, I'm going to put you on the spot now. At the risk of improvising, will you summarize for us very briefly what the star language message was that Nina had previously channeled to us?
Yes, it was a message of coming into, they want people to realize that it's not only outside that they are searching for in surrender. Truthfully, it's inside. Surrendering to their own inside truth. Not searching outside so much in books, not searching outside so much in meditation, not searching outside so much in classes, but to actually search inside their own heart. And the other part that we want people to know is to have gratitude. Once you realize what it is that you've surrendered to, what you've allowed yourself to expand on, be gracious. Understand the power of gratitude. Understand that golden moment of now and having gratitude for it. Because when you realize that there is no past, you have not created the future yet, you are in the moment of now. Being grateful for that can magnetize to you many, many ways.
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful message, isn't it, Nina?
And absolutely truth. That is my truth in every cell of my body. I thank you so much.
All right, so to wrap it up now, let's take a poll of our masters, guides, and teachers to see if they have any final words for a star. And before I do that, I just want to once again express my gratitude and on behalf of all of the stewards of the earth for their inspiration that led to the creation of these Triangle of Light sessions and for their participation and guidance during these broadcasts. So, thank you, Ms. Pablo.
I want to add one thing to that. Something that we haven't been thinking about too much maybe is the fact that being grateful not only for what the Golden Dolphin said, but being grateful for what you have not received yet.
Absolutely.
By being grateful for what you have not received yet, you are magnetizing. The universe is recognizing you and seeing, okay, not only are you grateful for the gift of life that you have, not only grateful for the breath that you have and that you're receiving, you are telling the universe, okay, I get it. I understand it. So please bring more of what I understand too. And my own personal experience being pulled out of California into Hawaii, surrendering to everything, not knowing where, when, how, why, has caused me to step back and go, okay, I'm grateful for everything that I have not received yet. And step by step, I am watching this process unfold in my own life. This is not the first time. There's many out there in the SOEs that can relate to this. When you're going through these difficult times, the solar flares hitting, all the magnetism of confusion, everything you see in your head, pass away and not understand why. Just went to sleep and never woke up. It's surrendering to this process of being grateful. You don't know what that spirit's path was. You don't know where and how and when. All you can do is know that he was a teacher, she was a teacher. Everything that is an experience as a teacher and gives you the gratitude that you have for the moment of now so that you can be grateful for what you have not received. That's what I.
Thank you, Star. Let's check in with the masters now.
Sinanda wishes to speak.
Master Sinanda? Okay.
Yes. Greetings, children. It is wonderful to be here, speaking through this vessel. And what I would like to say is open your hands and open your heart to your own truth. Whether you call it surrendering, whether you call it allowing, whether you call it releasing, it is the truth. It is the truth of your own heart. You hear it in the wind. You feel it in the ground. You see it in the sky. It is all around. To those whom I address as stewards of the earth, I would like to give each and every one of them a gift of all of this mother planet. I like to share my golden hands. It does not matter if you are seeing this now in the current moment or will receive it at another time. Put your hands together before you and take in what it is that you wish to release and surrender. Let us do that now. Now that you have whatever it is you wish to let go and release, open your golden hands, my golden hands, our golden hands, and let supreme consciousness take forth gratitude to each and every one on this transmission, all those who will listen, all those who are listening, and allow yourself to be this release, this surrender, this truth. For it is who you are. You do not owe this fear. Let it go and release the least of fear, as a landlord does with property. Release the responsibility and walk free amongst the trees. Live in the mountains, but most of all, live in the moment. Be your own breath. This is the golden hands that are touching you now. Call upon me, and I will come to each and every one of you. Be blessed, be well, and be loved.
Thank you, Master Sinanda. Gracias. Espava. Mahalo. My final words of gratitude go to Master Hilarion. Star, will you please call upon Master Hilarion? I want to thank you especially for making it possible for this connection to take place. Master Hilarion is the master of the ray of science and technology, and without that, Nina, I would not have been able to do anything at all to make this connection work. So thank you with that. And by the way, just as I said that, I can see that my screen froze up, so I guess Master Hilarion overpowered the screen with his presence.
Okay, I lost you.
and we lost stars. He's been swallowed up by Master Hilarion. All right, so thank you all. I'm gonna turn the cameras off now. Thank you all for participating. It's been a wonderful session. My love to all of you. Thank you, Andrea. And you want to say anything, Andrea here? All right, she is giving you a namaste sign. So
Namaste.
Namaste.
have a great day.
Thank you all. It's been an honor. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.